Is going well. I hope that you're as happy as I am, and it's just a good day to be black, as it always is. I woke up this morning. I was thinking about some stuff. I have no idea, what's gonna be on my mind on each day. Right now I'm thinking pretty heavily about the All Black National Convention, which is taking place in Atlanta, Georgia, the weekend of September 16th. You can find out more at allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. But I was thinking about some of the emails that I get. I get a lot of emails with questions about business because, as you know, I was a finance professor at five different universities over about a 23-year period. And most importantly, though, I became a much better professor I when I learned how to run a business. A lot of the professors that put you where you go to college and you go to $100,000 in student loan debt. I hate to break this to you, but a lot of those professors have never actually run a business. And I think that's a little bit of a problem, especially for black people, because black people have a different economy that we have to deal with. The economy is one where, the jobs are not going to be as readily available to you. If you don't believe me, just look up the data. I'm not being a pessimist here. It's just the truth. The jobs are not as readily available. Capital's not as readily available. A lot of our families don't have a culture of entrepreneurship, unfortunately. A lot of Negroes will cheer you on for getting a job, but will feel sorry for you if you tell them you're starting your own business. And what I will say is that that it's a different dynamic. It requires a different kind of education, which was why if I had an 18-year-old son or daughter right now who was planning on going to college, I wouldn't tell them not to go to college, but I would tell them to make sure they learn how to start a business before they go to college, because that will probably be the skill that saves them. You have a lot of millennials right now who graduate from college from expensive schools where they spent $30,000, $40,000 a year, and they thought that because they had a degree, they could just walk out here and people gonna throw jobs at them, and it just doesn't work. I mean, people aren't gonna just make it rain on your future. They're not just gonna just start sprinkling money on you, as if they owe it to you. Actually, you have to be in a position strategically to understand where the money's at, how the money works, how to get your piece of the money, how to protect that money, how to grow that money, all those things. If you don't, what'll happen is you'll be very frustrated. In fact, I'm actually thinking about putting together a course for millennials in the Black Business School. That basically helps coach them on preparing their economic future, because I see a lot of young people who are starting their lives very, very deep in debt, and don't really know exactly how to fix that. The only way they know how to fix it is just to ignore the debt and pretend like it's not there. A lot of people are starting to do that. But anyway, what I wanted to kind of talk about, and I don't have a lot of time this morning because I got to get out of here to go to a breakfast. We're actually planning to try to buy some real estate for the Black Business School. Um, here's the thing. Um, you know, Basically, I get similar emails every day. Now, by the way, if you're on social media, I hope you'll share this to your social media page, whether you're watching a live version or recorded version. I would love for you to share this with your friends on social media. Please share and share. Like, if there's a subscribe button somewhere, whether you're listening on SoundCloud or you're on Twitter or you're on Facebook, I hope or YouTube or anywhere else. I hope you'll hit the subscribe buttons and the share buttons and all that stuff. Also, if you actually want to connect with us via text message, all you have to do is text the word Boyce, Boyce, to 31996. Text the word Boyce to 31996. So anyway, here's what happens in my email. Let me tell you about my email inbox. Every day, I get more emails, than most people can humanly read. I get a lot of Facebook messages and things like that, because Facebook messages are very easy to send. You don't have to be a hardworking person to send a Facebook message. All you got to do is spend 30 seconds typing. And anyway, I a lot of times I get the similar messages, whether it's in person or on Facebook or whatever. And the message goes like this. It says, "Hey, Dr. Watkins, I have $1 billion idea. I just need to find some investors for my idea. Can you tell me how to find investors for my $1 billion idea? Because this is an absolute gold mine." Somebody this morning used the term gold mine to define their idea. And maybe the idea is a gold mine. I'm not going to say that it's not. But I wish the person could see how often I hear that message, how often I receive a message like that, or hear from somebody who has a million dollar, $billion idea. And all they need is for somebody to put money behind their idea, and then they're going to just go off and become the next Oprah Winfrey. Well, that logic is a little problematic for a couple reasons. Number one, when it comes to just bank lending in general, black people don't get the same loans as white people do. The studies show this, but banks discriminate. That's why it's important for you to bank black and to bank with any bank that has a strong community reinvestment program where they're taking that money and they're putting it back into the community where the deposits are coming from, things like that. So if you have a church and you get your church to bank at a certain bank, you should have a meeting with that bank and talk to them about exactly what they're doing to help people, church members or people in that community, get access to that funding. The second thing is that by the way, I see some of you asking specific financial questions. I don't really have a lot of time to go into a lot of stuff today, but if you want to ask me a specific question directly, we actually have a coaching program that's really good at askdrboyce.com. That's askdrboyce.com. You sign up for that. You submit your questions. I answer your questions specifically one by one within 10 days. There is a cost, but it's like group coaching, so ultimately the cost is much lower than the cost for individual coaching. My individual consulting fee, it can be between $300 and $500 an hour. And my manager has to set it at that price because I don't have time to really talk. Honestly, there's too much going on each day, and my schedule is usually jam-packed, so I can't really talk one-on-one. And so that space is kind of saved for people that are real serious about their business. I mean, truth is, if you have the next multi-million-dollar business, then $300 should be nothing for you in terms of good consulting advice. So if you have a $1 billion idea and you're afraid to put $100, $200, $300, $500 behind the idea, then chances are you don't have a $1 billion idea. Because if you aren't willing to invest in your $1 billion idea, then that kind of says that you don't believe in your idea. Because if it's worth $1 billion, why would you not put $300 or $500 or $1,000 or $2,000 into an idea that you know is going to make $1 billion? What unfortunately occurs, I honestly, and I don't want to sound harsh when I say this, because it's really just something. It's the kind of coaching I needed when I became an entrepreneur to really understand just what this game really means. It comes down to a term we talk about in the Black Wealth Bootcamp called economic immaturity, and a lot of us start off economically immature, not just those who I'm talking to. So I was in the category myself. And one symptom of economic immaturity is when you want other people to invest in your idea, but you're afraid to invest yourself. You want everybody else to put skin in the game, but you can't put no skin in the game because you don't want to lose your money. But you want other people to put their money up, right? And here's another sign of economic immaturity. This is how you can tell the difference between people who've made $1 million and those who've dreamed about it. Is an idea. The reason $1 billion idea honestly doesn't have that much value to a seasoned venture capitalist or seasoned entrepreneur is because $1 billion idea is just an idea. That's all it is. It's just literally some stuff you came up within your mind. You literally could have came up with this in 30 seconds. That's not really work. I mean, you haven't really put anything into the idea yet. And so when you reach out to somebody and you say, I want you to invest in this $1 billion company I'm about to start next week, what you're really saying is that I have a hunch and a guess and a little bit of inspiration, maybe no experience. And I want you to put your money behind my illusion. Because that's all. Everything starts off as is a vision, an illusion between you and your own consciousness, right? When I start any business that I start, it ain't nothing but an illusion until I make it real. It's only in my mind until I put skin in the game and I put money behind it and time behind it to take that thing from an idea and a concept to a reality. In fact, the execution is really what separates the people who are serious and the ones who aren't. Execution comes with thousands of hours, maybe years and years of consistent effort toward building that business, that company. Because I'll tell you, even our company, when you ask us to advertise with your business, we pretty much want you to be in business for 3 years, at least, to show us that you're serious. And we also want to know, what have you done to build this thing? You got a new radio show you just created. Okay, how many listeners do you have? Are we your first listeners? Or are we your first 200? Or have you spent time and built 100,000 people, or 50,000, or 10,000 over months and months, or years and years of consistent hard work? Just know that if I'm evaluating ideas and I'm making investments, I would value a well executed idea over a brilliant idea any day of the week. An idea that's mediocre, that's well executed, always has more value than a brilliant idea where you haven't done anything. You haven't even put any money into the idea. So make sure you know the difference. If you reach out to, and you got this idea and you're like, oh my God, we're going to make $1 billion. We're going to transform the whole black community. And you're sitting at a cocktail party, you get excited and you talking to your friends about it. Just know that really all you have is an idea at that point. And a serious entrepreneur who's trying to protect their capital is not going to really want to invest a whole lot of money in something that's just a concept. That's just like, okay, I want you to take all the risk, and I'm going to experiment with your money. And here's the other thing too. When you're dreaming, a dream is very different from having the experience of actually making that dream into a reality. So what happens is, when you have a dream and a vision and you start to execute that vision, you're going to learn a lot along the way. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. A lot of the things that you really swore were going to make a lot of money overnight aren't going to make any money. And the things that you thought were going to not make any money are going to maybe become the cornerstones of your business. So get that experience. Being an entrepreneur, requires getting into spaces where other entrepreneurs are. It requires really being willing to make sacrifices. Meaning putting skin in the game. It might start with something as small as your paycheck. In fact, to me, making $1 billion should not be the question about your new business. The question should be, can you make $1? Can you sell that first unit? Can you make that first $100? Can you make that first $1,000? That's the real grind. The $1 billion idea, that's kind of a fantasy where apparently you think that Oprah Winfrey is going to hear about your great idea and she's going to give you $100 million to get started. I haven't seen that happen yet. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying I haven't seen it happen yet. So as I close on this conversation, I want to remind you the All Black National Convention starts in a couple of weeks. David Banner's coming through. We have Yvette Carnell, Malik Zulu Shabazz, the rapper Killer Mike, Judge Olu Stevens, Dr. Roosevelt Mitchell III, Yvette Carnell, Yurima Karama. We're going to have 3 days in Atlanta of serious black conversations. Wealth building will be among them. We'll also talk about police brutality, the miseducation of black children, lifting the voices of black women. We're going to watch the film Hidden Colors 4. We're also going to, which I'm actually in Hidden Colors 4. We're going to watch the film, Resurrecting Black Wall Street. We're going to watch the film Generation 1 on how to build a legacy of generational wealth. So we're going to do all of that while we're there, and it's going to be awesome and amazing, and I hope that you will join us. You can find out more at allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. So that's all I would, that's all I really wanted to share with you today was this idea about, sort of having $1 billion idea that you're afraid to invest in. Just know that the people who will save you, this is what I say to black people. I say this to black folks in general, not because I want to be pessimistic, but because I just believe this to be the case. The people that are going to save you will be you. The people that will save you will be yourself. So, I see, for example, people on radio shows and black radio show hosts, and they all they do is get your mind caught up in this election. All they want to talk about is what Donald Trump did and how that's an outrage and this, that, and the other. And I'm gonna tell you like this: Donald Trump ain't gonna do nothing for y'all. Hillary Clinton ain't gonna do nothing for y'all. None of these presidential candidates are gonna do anything for y'all when it comes to building the legacy of wealth for your children. Also, I had a lively, spirited debate with my very good friend Yvette Carnell, who feels that government intervention is necessary for black people to accumulate wealth. I disagree vehemently because I believe that if we're waiting for government intervention to allow us to build wealth, we will be waiting until the day we are dead. We will be waiting for the rest of our lives. The government is not going to come along and give you what you need in order to build your wealth. I believe that for Black people, I think we have resources where we can start where we start. I would encourage you, instead of just focusing on building the $1 billion business, first focus on building the $1,000 business, and then the $10,000 business, or whatever, and grow from there. That's a sign of economic maturity. Usually when a young person is coming to me with their idea and they want to go gung ho and take over the world in a week, I say, whoa, 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 slow down. Prove to me that you can make $100 first. Prove to me that you can make $1,000 first. Then we grow from there. And so anyway, if you want to dig deeper into this, we have a very low-cost course on Black wealth building, on how Black people can strengthen themselves in this economy. It's the Black Wealth Boot Camp. We're doing a session right now. That session is closed, but we do have another session coming up November 5th. It's online, so you could take the class from anywhere in the world. We have students as far away as China and Australia and wherever, Africa, different parts of Africa, etc. I encourage you to look into that, because I think that could be an important part of your wealth building journey. And unlike the classes that you took in college, some of which wasted your time, this doesn't cost thousands of dollars. This is just $299. So for $299, you can get information that will change your life. If you don't believe me, ask anybody who's been in the program, any alumni, and 90+% of those people will tell you that it was probably the best class they ever took in their life. So check out the blackwealthbootcamp.com. That's the blackwealthbootcamp.com. See, KT Washington says, I love the Black Wealth Boot Camp. So thank you, KT. I'm glad. I appreciate you giving me that endorsement, because we need that, because we need that to convince Black folks that even though my PhD is as real as everybody else, that yes, I am as good as the white guy that taught you in college. And not only am I as good, but I'm probably better, because most professors at universities have no real world experience. They know theory. They know how to do research. That's how you get jobs at Harvard, Yale, and Stanford, is by doing research. You don't get jobs at those schools by actually being good at what you do. You get those jobs by actually being able to do research. And that's cool, but research is important. Don't get me wrong. I mean, anybody who thinks research is worthless is absolutely incorrect. Research has a lot of value, but real world experience has even more value for Black people. Having Black professors has more value for Black people, because I know what it's like to be poor and Black and angry in America. Your professor doesn't know that. They'll say something silly like, oh, well, if you get your $1 million idea, you just go to a bank and you fill out the forms and they'll give you $1 million and you'll get started. And that's their reality. Or you go to your uncle, you go to your parents, and your parents can start you off with $20,000 in seed funding so you can get started. Yeah, that's nice if your parents have $20,000, $30,000. I didn't come from a family like that. Most Black people don't come from a family like that. I see a sister here. Hey, I'm sorry, it's a brother. He says, I'm enrolled in the Black Wealth Boot Camp and enjoying it. Thank you. I appreciate those kind words. And so anyway, check out the Black Wealth Boot Camp. We do have a money back guarantee, but we almost hardly ever have to use it. Usually it's because somebody, can't make the classes or they want to take it later. But, it's the best class you'll ever take. I guarantee you that. Not only is it going to be adequate, but it'll be better than any class you've ever taken, because basically I know exactly what you need, because I know what universities can give you, and I know how to give you something better at a lower cost. And the way we're able to offer lower cost is through volume. Basically, because we have thousands of students all around the world, we're able to afford a staff and offer the same services that you might get from, say, spending $40,000 a year going to a major university or whatever. So anyway, go check that out. A couple other things I'll share with you before we bounce out. I want to mention greatblackspeakers.com, our sponsor for a lot of these podcasts. You can visit greatblackspeakers.com if you want to book a speaker. Oh, wow. Durante says, I'm signing up today. Thank you, brother. I look forward to seeing you in class. We start November 5th. That's the launch day of the next class. And actually, we're putting together something. I'll put this bug in your ear so you know about it. It's called the 48-Hour Business School. Now, this has a higher price point than the boot camp, because this will be live. This will be you and I in a room for 2 days. And when you leave that room after 2 days, we're going to go to a hotel. I'm going to start the first one probably in either Los Angeles or Chicago, probably LA, because it'll be like January. I want the weather to be nice. And basically, people will fly in, and we're going to spend 2 days in a room. And when we leave after those 2 days, your business will be up and operational. You will have a business. It will be running. You're going to be on your way. And also, it comes with a free 1 year all access pass to the Black Business School, which has a value of about, let me see, I think it's, I $4,000. So that you would get totally free. So it's not going to be cheap. It probably costs like about $2,000. But the thing about it is that, again, most of y'all spent, 30, 40, 50, 100,000 to go to universities. And a lot of people can't get jobs after they graduate. So for less than $2,000, we can actually have your business running. If you have a good business, that can easily become something that generates an extra $2,000 a month, or actually more. I mean, I've seen people start businesses with say $5,000 and literally be making, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 a month within a year. It's a matter of knowing how to be a good entrepreneur. It's also a matter of learning from people who know how to do it. So not everybody's interested in it, I know that, but for those of you who really want to talk to me one-on-one and us go through everything in complete detail and me help you set up everything in your business, that's what we're going to do with the 48-hour business school. So anyway, Tequila's asking, what other states are you going to do this in? Well, we're going to start off with Los Angeles. We're going to probably do... we're probably going to go to cities where I know that my base is very, very strong. So Chicago, that's my home city. So, of course, the base is strong. In fact, the breakfast meeting I have is actually going to be about getting some physical space where we can actually have the Black Business School located in physical space where people can actually come there. Chicago, Atlanta, Houston, Brooklyn, maybe Detroit, and a few other places. So, and maybe I'll just pick something in Florida just because the weather's so nice. So anyway, so keep an eye out for that. Don't forget the All Black National Convention in Atlanta, the weekend of September 16th. You can check it out at allblacknationalconvention.com. If you want a free e-copy of my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar, you can visit drboycewatkins.net. That's drboycewatkins.net. And also, if you're interested in teaching wealth building to your children, you can sign them up at the wealth building program for kids that we have. It's very popular. Parents love it. It's at blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. That's blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. So I want to tell you about some of the programs so you can kind of learn what you need to know. I would encourage you to shift your thinking when it comes to education. It doesn't mean you don't go to college, but it means college must be supplemented. Instead of thinking of college as the whole cake, think about college as the cake with no icing. The icing on the cake is entrepreneurship. So if you get a cake, which is college, then remember that the way to make the cake taste good is to learn how to start a business so that when you decide you hate your job, or you decide you want to try something different, or you decide you want to make more money, or you're not getting the job that you want, you can go out and create the job that you want. This year, I decided I want to make movies. Black people need more movies that tell our stories. I'm going to make movies. I want to become a movie maker. I want to become a film director. I want to become a little knockoff Tyler Perry. So I just created a job for myself. I invested a little bit of money. A little money I made from businesses that I didn't start off with much more. I think I started most of these businesses for less than like $3,000 or $4,000. I took some money. I put it into learning. I learned from people who know how to do it. I spent money. I spent a lot of money learning from people who have experience doing what I was trying to do. Again, I'm going back to that point. I believe that you should learn from people who know how to do it, not from people who can teach you out of a book. And with that money, they taught me what I needed to know. And now I have a business that this year, I think this year, total revenue will probably generate 100 to 200,000. I think by next year, I believe we'll be over $500,000 in terms of revenue from this. And think about this. So I probably spent maybe $15,000, $20,000 over time or more learning from people who have experience. But that $15,000 to $20,000 investment is going to generate easily millions of dollars in over the next 5 to 10 years. And I'm not bragging about it. I'm not sitting here trying to, pretend to be a baller, or I don't like bragging about anybody who's ever had any money knows that you don't brag about how much money you have. You don't want to do that, because when you do, everybody thinks you're made of money and everybody wants your money. The thing about it being an entrepreneur and having quote unquote having money is that you also have high expenses. So you might literally be making over $100,000 in a month, but your bills might be 50, 60, 70, 80,000 in a month. So, entrepreneurs, most good entrepreneurs I know are not trying to be ballers. They're trying to pursue their passion. They're trying to help their company survive. They're trying to grow their businesses, etc. People who tend to try to be ballers because they have money are people who usually live off a paycheck. People who understand paychecks don't really know what it's like to make money as an entrepreneur. Because if you only understand paychecks, what will happen is you'll hear an entrepreneur say, "Oh, our revenue this month, or we made $130,000 this month," and you'll literally be thinking that they have $130,000 to spend. I did have one conversation with Tyler Perry. I don't know him that well, but he did. I guess he knows me well enough because I'd reached out to ask to do a tour of his studio, and he arranged for his second in command to give us a 2-hour guided tour, which I'm greatly appreciative of. Because it was very inspirational to see everything he'd built down there in Atlanta. Anyway, the one conversation that we had was after he had appeared in a magazine for being I think the highest paid person in Hollywood, because he made $128 million that year. And I said, "How does that feel to be in a magazine, as the highest paid person in Hollywood?" He said, "I absolutely hate it." I said, "Well, why do you hate it?" He said, "Because everybody thinks that you have $128 million in the bank. And they don't see that I paid this person $2 or $3 million, this other person $1 million. I paid $3 or $4 million for this and $4 or $5 million for that." He said they don't see all of that. So anyway, when you do start making money, don't brag about how much money you have. That's not going to work to your benefit. What'll happen is you'll become a target for anybody who has a sob story, anybody who has a financial problem. So anyway, long story short, I would just tell you that with your $1 billion idea, that is, to some extent, that's your little baby. And it might be your ugly little baby. And if you know about anything about an ugly little baby, the only person gonna love an ugly little baby in the beginning is the mother, right, or the father, right? So the mother, the father has to love that baby if nobody else does. So you are the parent of that little baby, and you got to love that baby. And loving that baby means you got to be the first person to line up to invest in that baby. So when you email me and you say, "Dr. Boyce, I have this idea. I have this podcast that I'm going to start next week, and I want to interview you on my podcast," chances are I won't be able to do it because I don't like interviews that much. I turn down CNN now, all kinds of outlets, because it takes too much time. But also because I'm sitting there thinking, you just got started. You're fresh in the game. You're trying to get stripes that you haven't earned yet. You got to get in here and grind for a little bit. You got to show me that you got this thing you've been working on for 3 or 4 years, or 2 or 3 years at least, that you've put, your heart and soul into. And that would, because the amount that you value your business is the amount that other people will value your business. If you tell me, like I could tell you after 4 or 5 years, I could prove to you where I put 80% of every paycheck I got into building my business, where I went through, put thousands of hours of hard work into my business, and so proof of concept is very important. So if you're looking for an investor, you need to be able to show them that you don't just have an idea, but that you have an idea that you've invested in first, that you've put a lot into, that you've actually developed and made progress on, and that the idea has proven cash flow. When you can show somebody, "Hey, look, we're making $3,000 a month with this business I started 2 years ago. I believe that we can make $10,000 a month if we get these key structured investments. The reason I know what the business needs is the same reason that a mother knows what her son needs. I know this business through and through, thick and thin, in and out. And I can tell you exactly the most efficient ways to invest that money. Because I'm going to tell you like this. If you have $1 million idea or $1 billion idea and somebody writes you a big check, first thing that's going to happen is you're going to waste at least 80% of that money, because you don't even know where to put the money. You're going to put the money in places you think it needs to go. Like Lene Javette, who teaches the crowdfunding class in the blackbusinessschool.com, she was a single mom who wanted to quit her job. And what she did was she went out and she raised $10,000 in 1 month on Kickstarter. And what happened, what was funny was, I said, "So what did you do with that $10,000 when you got the money?" She said, "First thing I did was I spent $8,400 building my website." I said, "What? You spent how much building your website? You spent $8,400 building a website that had no traffic?" Okay. And she said, "Yeah, Dr. Boyce." She said, "I know." She said, "I realized right after I did it that it was a bad move." And I said, "Yeah." And I said, "And now here's the funny thing." I said, "What if she had taken that $10,000 and put $1,000 into getting some training, getting some coaching on how to build a high traffic platform, how to monetize that platform?" And then she spent, say, another $2,000 to $3,000 marketing the platform, and also spent, say, $300 building the platform from one of these out of the box things that they have. They have websites you could buy out of the box that look as good as websites that would have cost $10,000 5 years ago. But if you don't know the game, if you don't know anybody that you can talk to who can explain how this works, then you're going to end up making a lot of rookie mistakes. So what I find is that when I spend $3,000 working with a consultant who knows what they're doing, or even as much, I spent as much as $20,000 again working with people who knew what they were doing. I saw this as money I was spending to avoid bigger losses, right? Because over time, Vincent is saying he took Lene's class and he loves Lene. Yeah, she has a great class on crowdfunding at theblackbusinessschool.com. You got to go check it out. It's a really good class. And so to me, I think about investments like that in terms of learning and working next to people who know what they're doing as almost loss prevention strategies. Because my thinking is, if I can talk to somebody and get advice in an hour or two that will save me 5 or 6 years of work and save me, thousands and thousands of dollars in losses from doing it wrong, I'm going to do that every day of the week. So what I would generally say to you is, when you get your $1 billion idea, make sure you develop it. Make sure you're the first person to line up to invest in it. Make sure that when you come up and talk to people about investing in your idea, you can show them that you put skin in the game. That will make them take the investment more seriously. In fact, in finance, we have a whole theory around this called moral hazard, which pretty much says that when you ask somebody to take a risk on your behalf, they're going to look at what you did, and that's going to determine what they're going to do. If you tell me to invest my money in something, first thing I'm going to be like is, well, where do you put your money? How much did you put in? If you tell me, well, I ain't putting no money in, but what you're basically saying is that you don't believe in your idea enough to put your own money into it. So that's it. That's as simple as it gets. Quickly before I go, don't forget, if you like this conversation, this is helpful to you, please share it on your social media. Also, you can go get a free e-copy of my book at drboycewatkins.net. That's drboycewatkins.net. If you're interested in learning wealth building for adults, we have theblackwealthbootcamp.com. That's the line that's behind my head. You can go to theblackwealthbootcamp.com. Also, if you want your children to learn about wealth building, go to blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com, blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. And if you want to learn more about the All Black National Convention, that's at allblacknationalconvention.com. So anyway, I'm about to get out of here. I got to go to this meeting. So I love you guys. It's great talking to you. And I hope you have a wonderful, amazing, extraordinary, super black day.